as we come into the last 5 minutes of the count. Want to thank Mr. Nando for $2 super chat saying it's 54 degrees in West Palm and this vodka is keeping me warm. I'm glad you're having a fun night there, Mr. Nando. And Nelson Reyes back with us again with a $10 super chat says thanks once again for the great coverage. Well, thanks, Nelson, for always supporting us. Really appreciate seeing you, sir. I'm starting to hear some of the pad noises.
Strong back retract has started.
The strong back retract now underway. As you just heard that call out, we'll be getting mission audio from here through the duration of the mission. So if you hear me pause, it's so that we can all hear the call outs as they happen. You see those clamp arms opening up underneath the payload fairings of the Falcon 9 rocket. Transporter erector or the strong back will recline 1.5 degrees away from the vehicle. We'll stay in that position before liftoff. And another great view of the crew and cargo access tower. That tower will come into play next month when SpaceX launches the private astronaut mission to the International Space Station, AX-3, through Axiom Space. Now, T-minus 3 minutes, 12 seconds and counting. Appreciate the nearly 14,000 or more than 14,000 of you that are joining us for live launch coverage this evening. If you haven't already, to help more folks find this before the launch happens, if you just hit the like button, that would be fabulous. Help the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And our thanks to Rebecca Seelig for a very generous $20 super chat. Says hello from Palm Beach Gardens. Hello to you, Rebecca. Thanks for supporting us this evening.
Stage 1 LOX float is complete.
Here they call it that liquid oxygen loading on the first stage of the Falcon 9 rocket has wrapped up. Coming up around T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds, you should hear that LOX loading on the second stage is also complete, at which point the Falcon 9 will be full with 1 million pounds of propellant. We'll see some venting as well as the ground gas closeout gets underway.
Stage 2 LOX float is complete.
You hear that call out for LOX loading there. And that final venting that I mentioned. And as we approach the final minute of the countdown, at T-minus 1 minute, the Falcon 9's flight computers will take control. Stages 1 and 2 will pressurize for flight. The onboard computer will perform checks of the first stage engine steering system. Everything continues to remain on track for an on-time departure.
Ground gas closeouts.
Of the new T-minus 0 time of 12:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 05:07 UTC. Before we hit that last minute, want to thank Soldiers for Life Christian Ministries. Good to see you again. $50 super chat. That is exceedingly generous, and we're very appreciative of that. Thank you, Soldiers. Also,
Falcon
one of our
9 is in startup.
channel members. Now, T-minus 44 seconds and counting in real time. Should be hearing the call out from the SpaceX launch director that they are go for launch momentarily.
Go for launch.
And there you have it. Now 30 seconds to liftoff. Everything remains on track for the launch of the Starlink 6-33 mission coming up in 20 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds and counting.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket The Falcon 9 has cleared the tower, launching the Starlink 6-33 mission, sending 23 Starlink satellites up to low Earth orbit. Now 25 seconds into flight, getting tracking views from Chuck Briggs, as well as our friend Pete Carstens. This is from our Adam Bernstein. We're hearing the rumble of the Merlin engines. Let's listen in. Now 1 minute into flight. Falcon 9 now traveling faster than the speed of sound, getting views from Adam, Pete, and Chuck. The rocket now traveling through the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure. Less than 1 minute left on the burn of the first stage. Those 9 Merlin engines producing 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Some great views from Chuck there. This is from Pete Carstens with Max Q Productions. Should hear the call for MVAC chill down shortly. It's the process of thermally conditioning the Merlin vacuum engine prior to ignition. Now 2.5 minutes into flight, they receive MECO. Stage separation. That Merlin vacuum engine should be coming on momentarily. There you go. See the delay there on the SpaceX views on the right-hand side. A good view of the Cape before that Merlin ignited. Coming up on fairing separation momentarily. The main image on the left is Pete's camera. And there you see payload fairing deployment, or jettison. As they fall away in Pete's view.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There's the callouts and views from SpaceX. Those Starlink satellites now exposed to the vacuum of space for the first time. Still getting some great tracking views. So you saw the last little glinting of the payload fairings before they fell off the side of the screen. Seeing some stars go by in the background. A T plus 4 minutes and counting. As you see, we have our booster landing countdown, so don't go anywhere. There's another big milestone coming up with the landing of that first stage booster. The next milestone we're watching for is at T plus 6 minutes 10 seconds when the first stage entry burn begins. Because the weather is clear enough tonight, we should be able to see that burn from our on-the-ground tracking cameras. Of course, I'll bring that to you if we can, in fact, see that. That burn lasts just 21 seconds. It'll be followed by the first stage landing burn at T plus 8 minutes and 3 seconds. And we are now just about 3.5 minutes away from the landing of the first stage here. Now more than 5 minutes into flight.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
We're now less than 30 seconds from the start of the first stage entry burn. Now 6 minutes into flight. Less than 2.5 minutes before the booster landing on the drone ship. Just read the instructions. The entry burn is underway.
Stage 1 entry burn.
Pete's got some views of that. Well done to Pete. You see the entry burn there on the delayed feed from SpaceX. Just a point of note, that's why our count clock is slightly different from
Stage 1 entry shutdown.
from SpaceX's. It's because ours is in real time and SpaceX is on a slight delay of about 10 seconds or so.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Now 7 minutes into flight. Coming up in less than a minute, the landing burn will begin.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 FTS have saved.
And our friend Chuck Briggs still has a view of the second stage as it continues on its burn.
Stage 1 transonic. Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And touchdown for booster 1077
Stage
there
1 landing confirmed.
on the drone ship.
burn is
A
underway in
shortfall, or
real
excuse me,
time?
just
Okay.
read the instructions. See that coming up momentarily on the
Stage
SpaceX
1
feed.
landing burn.
Coming up on Seca 1, second stage engine cutoff.
MVAC shutdown.
And there you hear the call out and you start to see the burn of the MVAC engine wrapping up there.
Nominal orbit insertion.
That second stage now on a coast phase until T plus 54 minutes 9 seconds, when it will have a 2-second burn. It'll set up satellite deployment at T plus 1 hour 5 minutes and 19 seconds.